Whoopi in the view.
Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race. It's about
a different. What we need to probably stop calling Broadway, maybe we can stop calling it the Great White Way and replace it with the Great Bright Way.
Whoopi Goldberg stands out frequently, but not because she offers any particularly original ideas. Rather, it is because the show and the audience as a whole are intellectually inferior in general. This time, it has come across quite clearly, emphasizing how Whoopi goes straight into embarrassing situations due to her own errors and her propensity to talk without thinking. And to be honest, the crowd isn't buying it. During a recent episode of The View, Whoopi Goldberg was subjected to a barrage of criticism from the other panelists and guests who all drew attention to the flaws in her reasoning and the fact that she essentially lacked common sense. At least, it is how people perceive it. Immigration was the topic of the first exchange of the program, and Goldberg attempted to refute Trump's positions. However, her tone immediately shifted to one that was derogatory. Now, it wouldn't have been all that horrible, but Goldberg and God knows what world thought it would be sane to say that if Latinos were removed from the country, there would be a restricted quantity of workers to conduct specialized occupations like cleaning restrooms. And to be honest, it seemed like she was saying that this revealed a contradiction in Donald Trump's views. She therefore failed horribly in her attempt to draw a connection between immigration and employment, and as a result, her statements took on a racial undertone. Other people opposing her opinions caused the situation to significantly worsen and appeared to be out of control. Moving on, an audience member who would later go by the name Chia voiced their disapproval and called attention to how nasty and disrespectful Goldberg's remarks were. Chia also made sure that Goldberg was put in her place. Overall, Goldberg's remarks, which were meant to be used as evidence against Trump, instead backfired and exposed his lack of empathy and comprehension. Naturally, the situation deteriorated further after Goldberg attempted to discuss the Holocaust. She shockingly asserted that the Holocaust was more about man's inhumanity to man than it was about race.
About race?
No.
It's not about race.
It's about
a different race.
But it's.
She was met with swift condemnation after making this assertion because it revealed her total ignorance of historical events and her insistence on speaking regardless of the circumstances. Everyone knows, of course, that the Holocaust was unquestionably a homicidal effort to exterminate the Jewish community, motivated by anti-Semitism and racial hatred. Naturally, her attempt to downplay its relevance as being racial revealed an astounding amount of ignorance regarding the subject and her overall intelligence. That's not all, though. Recently, Whoopi Goldberg seems to be everywhere. You see, Goldberg's level of ignorance became even more apparent when she got into a disagreement with the other panelists over abortion. She attempted to stop the conversation by asserting that men had no business discussing a fetus's wants and needs, which sparked a contentious dispute between the two of them. Her attempt to end the conversation and her ignorance of the abortion controversy also showed disrespect for opposing viewpoints and a reluctance to engage in a fruitful conversation. However, Whoopi Goldberg encountered a number of contentious situations during this most recent episode of The View, regardless of who she was speaking with. She was criticized for both of these aspects of her arguments, contempt and ignorance. In essence, it comes as no surprise that the crowd is going crazy for her. But despite this, the argument has been exaggerated, resulting in the matter gaining attention on a global level. This is so because when a region with a tendency to the right makes a decision that could be interpreted as outlying a particular form of information, it almost always sparks a national scandal, in stark contrast to regions with a tendency to the left, which frequently make similar decisions without drawing the same level of attention. Not to mention, the atmosphere was already tense when Whoopi Goldberg and the other The View co-hosts entered the area. Despite the fact that they had no academic background in the topic, they chose to conduct a conversation about the Holocaust. At the same time, Whoopi Goldberg decided to speak out about the subject, probably motivated by the fact that her last name is Goldberg. But her remarks weren't just incorrect. They were also alarming. She provided a prejudiced view of the Holocaust, which was genuinely troubling, especially in light of her position and authority. Her viewpoint on the subject also demonstrated that she was not well versed in the historical and racial aspects of the Holocaust. Even though it wasn't her intention, her words had the potential to be taken in an anti-Semitic direction. Additionally, a lively discussion on a recent edition of The View demonstrated the program's commitment to addressing offensive remarks, particularly when they originate from one of the program's co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg. You see, the discussion centered on the denim company Good American, which was created by Emma Grede and Khloe Kardashian. Emma is ready to make history by joining the Shark Tank cast as a guest shark, a first for a black woman. Anyway, when Sunny Hostin was complimenting Good American, Whoopi Goldberg made a joking remark about the way the jeans fit. Barbara Corcoran, a businesswoman, reportedly remarked on the prospect of making 2 pairs of jeans from one old pair of denim. Her remark, which was intended to be hilarious but instead came off as a kind of publicly embarrassing body-shaming Whoopi, highlighted the insensitivity that occasionally appears in public conversation by bringing up issues with body image. Although many contend that it's just Parma taking revenge. Could it be that Whoopi's lack of empathy has already been seen on the show and is now starting to affect everyone else as well? One of the co-hosts of the program, Ana Navarro, promptly addressed the situation and criticized Barbara for making a joke that was inappropriate. Of course, this demonstrated the show's commitment to holding itself responsible. Anna's assertion was also credible, particularly in light of a recent event in which she was singled out by Donald Trump Jr. for her weight after testing positive for COVID-19. However, Anna's reply went beyond merely protecting herself. She instead conveyed a more broad message about the necessity of treading carefully while dealing with sensitive matters. Everyone's attention was drawn to the significance of handling issues about health and body image with care and respect by her reaction, notably Goldberg's. Simply put, Whoopi needs to use caution to avoid getting into major problems this time around, from which there will be no turning back. I mean, isn't she already being humiliated enough? In any case, Whoopi Goldberg received praise for her acting skills when she was just getting started, especially at the time when that sister act was well-liked. However, her recent foray into political discussions on The View appears to have revealed a different aspect of her personality, and as a result, these discussions frequently culminate in heated arguments. As an illustration, a debate that occurred with Kentucky Doctor and Senator Rand Paul has now gained widespread attention. What transpired was that Goldberg expressed her concern about gun ownership during this chat and questioned why anyone would oppose the ban on automatic guns. She continued by admitting that she herself was a gun owner and emphasized her belief that automatic weapons should not be used in civilian situations because their primary purpose is to hurt other people. Senator Rand Paul's comments shed some light on the distinctions between fully automatic and semi-automatic weapons. He claimed that semi-automatic rifles are more frequently used for hunting and sporting activities due to their more controlled recoil, whereas automatic weapons are made for rapid and continuous fire. He also underlined how important it is to uphold people's Second Amendment rights while also taking the need for suitable controls into account. Senator Paul emphasized the need of having a system of checks and balances in place within a government in an effort to defend himself. Even if that person's activities were in sync with the current popular emotions, he cautioned Whoopi against giving one person an excessive amount of power. He even gave an example of the possible outcomes by presenting a scenario in which the president limits people's freedom of speech in order to maintain society's safety. This subsequent interaction once more very obviously demonstrated Goldberg's ignorance of the distinctions between various firearm kinds and demonstrated the significance of having informed talks when handling delicate subjects. Even so, it could be challenging for someone like Whoopi Goldberg to understand this viewpoint, given that she has the luxury of armed guard. It makes sense why she expresses the opinions that she does. I hope you found it informative. If you liked the content, please don't forget to hit the like button. Sharing this video with your friends and family would mean the world to us as it helps us reach a wider audience. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video. That's all for today. Goodbye.